So you're here to learn more about the adorable Lacrimosa. She's like a fan favorite, looking adorable, she sucks tomato juice, and she looks like she couldn't care less. That's the Lacrimosa we know and love, and welcome to my complete Lacrimosa guide. I'll be going through everything you need to know to build and play her, including her best team combos that you can try instantly. So do use the timestamps for convenience. Just real quick before we start, if you're looking for the best deals for top-ups in games like Neverness to Everness, I'd like to share with you the website I usually use, which is Lootbar. Lootbar is very direct. They offer the best prices for the same top-ups you'd find in-game. You can see how much you save right beside the price tag here. You can actually save quite a good amount, up to 25% if you register now with my link and use those new user coupons too. What's best for me is how easy it is to set up. Simply click on my link in the description, register an account if you don't have one yet, select any bundles you would like, complete the payment, choose self top-up, log into your account. Now this is secured since it is set up as a one-time cloud device, so you don't gotta worry about that. You'll then see your account in-game on the browser, go to the store and click on the bundle you purchase. You'll be able to redeem it right away and voila, you'll have your resources. Then simply log out, your data will be automatically cleared. I've been using Lootbar for almost 2 years now and I have had no issues, and they also have thousands of great reviews on Trustpilot. Lootbar's been around the block. They're also used by multiple other big name creators too, so no complaints from me. Just as a side note, Lootbar also has official CD keys on sale for some really big Steam games like Art Raiders. You get up to 80% off plus extra 20% cashback for these keys, so yeah, check it out. If you're interested, click my link in the description and give Lootbar a shot. It does help me out a ton as well, so I'd appreciate that. Now then, let's draw for summary. Lacrimosa is a Chaos Element main damage dealer at the moment. She has strong damage in general just by attacking with her basics, skills, and ultimate. Most of her attacks also apply a unique damage over time debuff named Nightmare as well. That means Lacrimosa will be used to attack an enemy a bunch, dealing damage directly, while still have even more damage coming from the Nightmare die. Her most unique mechanic is that she can copy and use an enemy skill from a selection of 46 enemies. You can copy an enemy skill by holding her basic, aiming at an enemy. You then mark the enemy with a bat symbol, and after that you can go into her ability screen, click on the top right question mark, and you'll find the enemy skill unlocked there. From there you can use Lacrimosa's skill and you'll basically use that enemy's skill instead. Once you copy an enemy skill, you can freely switch from and to any of the skills that you've unlocked within your ability tab by copying other enemies before. We'll talk about which is the skill you should copy, but yep, what an interesting character, right? Furthermore, she has a passive that provides an enhancement to the Discord Esper cycle, which opens up Lacrimosa in a Discord team, but after testing, there's actually not enough characters in the game yet to consistently make Discord reliable at all times. When it works, especially versus bosses though, it does shine. In any case, with the summary out the way, let's get into her kit in detail. To start for basic, she has a 5-sequence melee attack combo, and unlike most other characters, Lacrimosa has a whole different basic combo, not just this melee. You see, if you click G or the aim button, Lacrimosa will change forms, which allows her to use a 5-sequence long-range attack instead. The difference between the two are that the melee sequence lands more hit in total, which means landing more nightmare dots, while the long range sequence lands less hit in total, but deals slightly higher damage. Generally though, melee sequence is easier to play with, while the long range sequence can be harder with more animation cancel techniques possible to unlock the highest ceiling. But then again, if you've unlocked more of her dupes, or if you're not really trying to min-max her long range animation cancels and whatnot, sticking to the melee can be a better option. The final thing to note with her basics is that there is a nightmare effect. Now what the nightmare effect does is that you will apply one nightmare stack per basic attack. This nightmare stack is basically a dot effect that deals damage once per 3 seconds, and the stacks will reduce if the target gains healing. Moving on though, let's take a look at her skill. She actually has 2 of them. The first one that is available will be the redirect skill Devilish Gift. This is the one that uses an enemy skill that you have copied before, while also granting Lacrimosa 30% of the copied enemy's attack stat. To copy an enemy skill, you can hold her skill button, aim it at an enemy from a selection of 46, then you can mark the enemy with a bat symbol. After that, you can use the redirect skill to basically perform the skill of that enemy that you've marked. As mentioned before, you can check her ability tab, click on the question mark on the top right, and you'll be able to see all 46 enemies if you've copied their skills before. You'll be able to freely switch between them once you've copied them one time. The highest damage enemy skill that you can consider copying will be the Black Tome boss from Anomaly Hunt. Once you copy that, use the skill at any moment and you'll perform the Black Tome boss skill, which does have quite the lengthy animation. Ideally, you will want to swap off Lacrimosa mid-animation, use allies as ultimate and attacks to fully utilize the time, and then go back to Lacrimosa and continue your damage output. But you don't have to do that though, it's just that if you really want to sweat it, right? Once you use her redirect skill, it will go on cooldown, but if you utilize her second passive, you could actually perform 5 sequence of your basics, and you'll be able to use Lacrimosa's normal skill now for free. This will only happen once per cooldown period though. That means you usually want to start with her redirect skill, do 5 basics, then do her normal skill, which speaking of, the normal skill simply attacks in an area while inflicting 5 nightmare stacks. Additionally though, you can instantly perform her 5th sequence basic right after using this normal skill as well. So that's generally what you want to do. Once you use the normal skill, click basic one more time for like the 5th sequence of basic, which hits the hardest. Now to look at her ultimate, she has 2 versions as well. The first version will be in melee form, which hits for 10 times for good damage. The second version is in long range form, which hits for 5 times for similar damage. Both of these ults inflict 5 stacks of nightmare as well. The version of the ult that you'll use is based on what form your Lacrimosa is in. Next off, the final part about a kit that you have to know is with her first passive. It enhances the Discord effect, dealing additional damage when Discord is triggered if the target is already broken. This sounds strong and it should be, except Discord isn't exactly the easiest Esper cycle to trigger given the lack of better allies in the element that you need. It's definitely usable though, which we'll go through later. And now let's take a look at her build. To start for Arc, obviously the best one is her own signature, giving her really helpful crit rate stats and crit damage increase too. Lacrimosa has really good damage from her attacks, not just her dots, so the crits are really valuable. Alternatively, consider the free Youthful Fantasy. Not the best, but it's free. You can also consider the Battle Pass Sweat of Fleetness too. I do recommend going for a signature though. She's a main source of damage, and the stats and effects is really going to help you improve your experience and damage output. In terms of her cartridge and modules, the Diaball set is perfect for her. And for the main stats, you want to go for crit rate or chaos damage bonus. As for all the substats though, look for crit rate, crit damage, damage percent bonus, then attack percent. A quick look at her skill upgrades as well. You want to prioritize her passives obviously, and then her basics, then her skill, and then her ultimate, then her support skill. And with that said, let's finally look at her best teams and rotations. Do follow along if you'd like to try out a simple rotation with Lacrimosa that doesn't take too much thinking. To start us off by looking at her best teams, there are 2 main directions right now. The first one, which is the general best one right now, is just using Lacrimosa as a main damage dealer, supported by Sakiri plus 2 other supports / sub DPS. You want to lock in Lacrimosa with Sakiri because of how Sakiri can trigger the Scorch effect with Lacrimosa, and well, Sakiri's attack buff and especially her unique Scorch enhancement is able to increase dot damage by 25% per dot type. So in total, that's 50% increase with the Nightmare dot and the Scorch dot itself. The rest of the team can be Hotori with Julian to just be a source of strong sub damage, or you can use Adler and Haniel if the previous 2 are already used in the Nanali team. There are actually a lot of other options as well, but these are the ones that make a lot of sense. Adler also has dot with his kit, so you would be able to get up to 75% dot damage increase that way through Sakiri's passive. It's actually pretty good. The second team direction will be a Lacrimosa, Daffodil, Sakiri, and Fadia Discord team. This team shines especially for fighting bosses that allow Daffodil to perfect parry them a lot, which isn't the case for all bosses in stages. But when it happens though, it is like very satisfying and quite explosive. You do have great survivability with Fadia in this team, but for the difficulty in triggering Discord consistently, it's not actually the perfect team at least right now, even though on paper it should be, since Lacrimosa works in the Discord team. It's definitely one to watch in the future though, when more characters can utilize and work with Discord consistently gets released. But in any case, we'll start with a simple rotation with the first archetype of team. I won't be using the Hotori Julian pair since chances are they're locked with Nanali for everybody anyway. Now to start, go with Lacrimosa's redirect skill. You release the Black Tome skill, and while it's happening, swap over to Sakiri, use her ultimate and hold her skill, then swap to Adler, use his ult and his skill, and after that, go to Haniel, use her ult and her skill. Pretty simple, right? And now we can swap to Lacrimosa. With all the buffs intact, use her ultimate, then 5 basics. That'll trigger Lacrimosa's second passive, which means you get to use her normal skill here. Go ahead and use that. After that, do 1 basic for the 5th instance, and go ahead and spam basics until Lacrimosa's redirect skill is up again. Once that is up, use it, and you'll do the lengthy enemy skill again. At this point, you should have the max cycle gauge, swap to Sakiri to trigger Scorch, then repeat the same idea of using your support skills and ults. feeding them all into Lacrimosa. As you repeat, you can spam basics or skills to get your ultimate if it's their turn and they're missing just a little bit, right? The general idea with this team is to just click whatever that glows while trying to feed all buffs into Lacrimosa. In between, you'll be triggering a lot of Scorch, and all the dot damage you have from Lacrimosa, Adler, and Sakiri themselves will all contribute to even more dot damage in total thanks to Sakiri's passive. As you get to max cycle gauge with say even Haniel, you can trigger Nova and get the Discord effect in, but it's not going to be the main direction to rely on with this team. This one's a simple rotation that anyone can do, but of course, they're not min-max, and hey, you don't really have to min-max. This is a team that works. Now for the next team, we have the Discord team, featuring Lacrimosa, Daffodil, Sakiri, and Fadia. For this one, you'll start with Sakiri's ultimate, then swap into Lacrimosa. Use her redirect skill. Swap into Daffodil while the animation's happening, use her ultimate and her skill. Then go back to Sakiri, hold her skill for the gather, then go to Lacrimosa and use her ultimate. After that, you want to go to Fadia, use her ultimate, then do one full set of her basics, then use her skill. Here you want to swap once into Daffodil, which performs her enhanced parry attack one time. Then instantly swap to Lacrimosa, perform 5 basics, get the normal skill usage passive, and use that skill. Then you can spam her basics until she almost gets her redirect skill again, and meanwhile be vigilant to swap into Daffodil with her parry attack whenever the boss shows the red circle. If you do get the parry, Daffodil will get her ultimate back fully for free, and the Discord team will only reach its peak value if you can manage to land a lot of parries, especially with Daffodil, to just break the enemies quicker. Do note that you only get 2 enhanced parries with Daffodil after using her ultimate. We do use one of them within the rotation, but obviously you can try and move around the timing to get 2 parries if you'd like, since why not? The worst case is you get 0 parries, or you wait for the parry for so long that the rotation stalls itself. And that is why you might find it easier to just rely on the Lacrimosa carry team, where you're just feeding buffs into her and spamming with her. The Discord team isn't exactly worth the hassle in a lot of cases, but that's not saying it's bad at all though. Against the right boss with good timing and right parries, it is a scary team. With that said, now let's take a look at Lacrimosa's Awakenings. The best value awakening for her will be the 6-1. It allows Lacrimosa to trigger an Esper cycle effect just by swapping into a character after a redirect skill. So this doesn't cost any cycle gauge basically. This is a godsend to trigger Nova with Fadia without maxing her cycle gauge, and that is a much more consistent way to trigger Discord, and in fact it's just really helpful to have anyway. You know that in this game Esper cycles matter a lot for damage. To be able to trigger way more of them with this awakening is incredible value. If you're a fan of Lacrimosa, you want to get one dupe, unlock this 6 awakening. Now then, the next best awakenings to go for will be a combination of the 3rd and 4th one. Both of them combined makes the nightmare mechanic better, where you can trigger more of them and they last longer. All of that means it'll contribute to a lot more dot damage increase for Lacrimosa, but do know that you kind of have to get both of them together. Without one or the other, it might not be as valuable. After that will be the 5th awakening. It reduces target's max HP based on nightmare damage dealt, which can be really good damage, and she also heals herself based on nightmare damage dealt too, which it's great. After that though, the rest of the awakenings are not too significant, but comparatively, Lacrimosa's got some pretty good awakenings to go for. And with that said, that'll be all for my Lacrimosa guide. I hope I helped you out. I have not included all the incredible min-max stuff that you could do with Lacrimosa, because I do think it's not really needed to go that far. But hey, maybe another video I'll try and do the advanced stuff. I personally have been sticking to the easier stuff though, because well, it's just easier. And it's just enough to get all the things that you need done. But in any case though, good luck with pulling and building her, and that'll be all for now. Have fun playing with Lacrimosa, and take care.